Hi guys, welcome back to the Call of Duty World Championships 2019. My name is Tun, I'm here with Lan once again. Last game of the day here on Charlie. We've been rattling through them all day long. Honestly, it's been 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 all day.
3-1, 3-0.
Yeah,
3-1,
occasional 3-1.
Exactly
Some
right.
3-0s back in there again. But hopefully we get a big competitive game out of these two. Now, I'm going to see units here for the first time on Charlie. In an interesting game, I feel, Lano. They're going up against the German squad who... I don't think they pulled up any trees quite yet.
Yeah.
Have we seen them hit their final form? Probably not. But realistically, units absolutely the favourites in this game.
Yeah, that's very fair. I think it's a fair estimate to bring up. Obviously, the guys on unit, just a very stacked team from beginning to end. And Animosity, right? A German squad filled with some vets, filled with some new guys, and a lot of question more than anything in terms of how are they going to play when it comes down to a very stacked group for them, right? You have teams like FaZe, obviously units right now, as well as Mazer. So their job done. It's not going to get any easier. They already lost to FaZe. Now they're facing off against Units, and up to this point, Mazer has also looked like a dominant team as well. So a lot of questions right now in Animosity, but we'll see how they begin to answer the call as a few relief frags found, and that's going to be an early 14-0 advantage.
And, you know, just touching on units a little bit as a whole, I'm really interested to see how they do this weekend in general. I do, after seeing their victory against Mazer, expect them to get out of their pool now. You fully think that's what's going to happen. These guys against FaZe will be a cracking game. Always seems to be. We love to see scraps go up against these other teammates as well. Of course, that's always interesting. Yeah. But I'm really interested to see how units do as a whole throughout this event. I do expect them to go through into the bracket play, I should say. Not necessarily the best start right here, but realistically, we expect them to go further than this. I'm interested to see how they do throughout the rest of the weekend. But right now, let's concentrate on the hard point. It is going to be Animosity with a really comfortable lead straight off the rip. And we talked about this P1 a couple of times on Arsenal. If you can get the first few kills, you can lock that down.
Oh, for sure. And that's Animosity just showing us exactly how it's done. Lasering units consistently as Piero dropping Nolson, who is a pretty big pillar right now for the setup in terms of units, because you kind of notice they immediately focus their attention toward the back. They realize Animosity is here, and they're knocking at the door. Just a matter of, will you let them in? Which it seems as if they have, at least for the time. Still lining up a few players. Piero is
Wee Man's actually playing for streaks here, but he doesn't have any bullets, which is quite difficult to find you streaks if you don't have any guns to kill people with. So Wee Man will sit there and soak up the time. Currently on a 4 streak after a start he wouldn't have liked to see. Hazy here in mid-map though. Setting up, expected to transition through window. Going into lobby, and it's such an important area to lock down lobby when you move over towards P3. It's pretty much the quintessential area where you want to lock down. You can move so many different directions if you need to. Right now though, it is going to be Animosity. They will win this rotation. Units very much so won the second held up. Weemat does continue his streak, although he actually had one down them with mine. So no streaks coming in from him. Units on the way over though. What can they get done here?
I think this is actually a huge game just in general for the boys on Animosity. I mean, starting off the way that they did is great, as it looks graded though. Just running through their setups. I know known as previously the ICR for the group, but has recently kind of swapped back over toward that Maddox position, and clearly it's fitting him pretty well, as Pazzy just takes a decent time trying to fight over that trophy, who seemed to be winning most of it. But regardless, though, this game, though, is massive for Animosity, because we know how talented this roster is at Control, because I think they took down FaZe 3-0 in Control. Units, they lost that one. So, and when it came down to their series prior versus Mazer. So, Animosity, they're kind of banking on that Game 3 going their way. If they can win an early hardpoint, talk about confidence, right? That would be maybe a double respawn over Units, which is a very talented roster. We look at this group and it just screams consistency. It just screams talent in terms of their slaying. Let's see if Animosity can hold on, right? Probably the first team to reach that century mark. They are nearly there. Phantom walking up the back as he will have an engagement up close. Good night, Cammy. Good effort, but gonna have to come with a little bit more next time, as Phantom says. I'd imagine he said that. I don't know.
He might have said that,
I would assume.
I got something to say though. Team 1 just won the second map against Genji 6-4.
Jeez,
they are
man.
2-0 up in probably the craziest pool. You would say Pool B is looking insane right now, and it really is all to play for. But if Genji lose that, they are out. They are done ski. They are that is finished. They are done.
And that's like a team that everybody had on their radar.
Oh, I
except
had
for
them top 3.
Benson, except that though. I mean, he was the
Oh,
one who
yeah,
said that,
Benson's
oh yeah,
genius.
they're going down. There's no way. Like they're gonna
Either
keep
that,
progressing. So
yeah.
Benson's a wizard apparently.
Yeah, Benson's either a genius or he got different coloured LAN cables plugged into every single one of the stations changing you're playing on, but we'll not talk about that. Either way, though, it looks like the units are now eventually going to take a lead for the very first time in this game. Daisy go, setting pace here as we move over towards P4. Cabby does get taken down. Going through long is going to be the Germans of Animosity. Daisy go, waiting for the rest of the team to get here. He's going to take down Rated, missed the first couple of shots, but made the last ones count. And eventually, the trades do just about go in the favour of units now, so they will be able to lock this one down. Very close game between these two, though, to be honest, Landon. I didn't really expect it to be this close. I thought units would be looking pretty comfortable, but there's time for that yet. Wee Man once again on a streak of 11 and 7, 3 in a row from him. Very close to getting a hold of his Tempest, and if they can get a good rotation with that Tempest in hand, it's looking really good for units when we move back over towards P1.
Like, look at the kill differential between units and Animosity. Animosity, you look at their side, you see Sharko 4 and 12, Piero 7 and 10. What is that, 8 and 15 for Phantom? On the other end for units, they're up by just, what, 35 points, yet every single player except for, what, maybe Cammy's almost even, but outside of Joey, it's just -3. Like, the kills are by far coming in great amounts from units, but it's not equaling out to a solid margin in terms of the score, which you'd expect it to be a lot higher than this.
I want to say what I think that comes down to is, so in P1, we've seen Animosity pick up a lot of points, but they got the first initial clear, and that was about it. Units just couldn't burst in. But on P2, units locked that one down and slayed them out a good few times. So I think that's maybe where we're seeing them picking up most of the kills. I think that's probably it, but you're very right. The slaying department very well and truly in the favour of units right now. Things looking good in the specialist front as well. They're just about winning that race. They have eventually getting themselves a decent lead. Animosity yet to pick up a point in the last 2 kills pretty much. Maybe a couple here and there, but things have been looking great for units. Not so good for Nelson as he finds himself taking himself down with a War Machine, of course, finding himself 2 members of Animosity while he's at it. Daisy trying to get something done here, but this rotation just about in favour of the Germans, as we can see 2 units players spawning towards the back map to make that 3. The other 2 coming from front side guns. Nelson now gets a stun on into Phantom as well, doing his best to stay alive. He definitely didn't have tag on. Stunned for an eternity, but the streaks coming in for units here, and this is what we talk about with the kills being in their favour. You start getting streaks, and on this map, they can be very, very powerful. They find a couple of kills with it. Not a lot of control for the streaks they've invested, but the lead is all they care about right now. It is about 80 points or so. Units looking good in map number 1.
Yeah, they've totally hit a different gear, it seems, and just looks like a much different lineup for the most part. That's what Nelson, and everybody getting involved in the kill feed as Animosity just trying to get any single second that they possibly can muster up. I think that was a huge fight going down for player number 2, of which I think he ended up winning that one, or at least Sharko had some assistance. So nice for Animosity, but the rotation is the most important thing. It's the one they have in their mind, and it will be over towards Statue. And that is what Pazzi is looking to try and make happen. However, he gets foiled. Units rush on in, and despite the decent rotation attempt from Animosity and the good shots from Cookie, they do not hold what matters most.
Absolutely not. See, can't quite get there. Cookie having a good run of things over towards the back here with the ICR, and he's been relatively impressive, to be honest with you, 18 and 13. And, you know, if you have your ICR having that sort of performance on this map, it's one of those things where you can sort of say, well, actually, you know, we should be doing maybe a little bit better here, but right now, everybody else on the team not really meeting the level of units. You know, the Maddoxes and the Sogs really causing problems, and that's why they find themselves 30 points away. Wee Man is not missing with the Tempest, not going to be able to quite find the last one, but his teammate will. Units now can't quite win it here on P3, but streaks are all over the place for them. Rated is going to go down. This Cookie does find 2. Definitely no attack being used here. Rated just trying to stay alive as best he can. The contestation comes in, stays alive and snaps as well. Real good stuff from units. And if you're Animosity there, you invest the Tempest. You invest a lot. And what do you get for it? Absolutely nothing. You're 7 points away from closing this one out. Landed.
Yep, it's definitely looking in units' hands as the streak comes through, takes down Pazzi, and it is just constantly running through the blender and trying to throw in a German Cookie through that blender as well, as that will be units winning this game in a solid manner. What, 250 to, was it 126, I think? So a solid victory, or rather 146, excuse me, but In the beginning phases, ANIMOSITY looked pretty solid, right? They came off the break and they looked great, but it was just a matter of once units started to kind of catch their wave a little bit when they caught some momentum. We talked about the overall Elim kind of difference in terms of both of those rosters. It started to make more sense as time went on in terms of why they were up the way that they were.
Yeah, units really just flicked the switch, didn't they? You know, and I think you can contribute a lot of ANIMOSITY's points towards that first hill.
Yeah,
first rotation, they pick up, 50 or 60 with uncontested.
Yeah.
Then from there, you look at it, if you take that hill out, not a good game from them, really, was it? Like, realistically, in the majority of the rest of the game, all over towards units. If that hill isn't involved, it's a pretty convincing victory, probably 100-point club them. So units will be happy enough with that. They know they lose the first initial break, lose those points from there on after, though. They're pretty dominant. Anything in particular for me was, I think Raider playing pretty well, but you know, I think these guys they have such confidence, especially going against European teams. I know we sort of I try personally not to talk about European teams and American teams, etc. anymore, because it's sort of like doesn't exist anymore. It's just a team. Like, everyone can play with each other now. But at the same time, the confidence they will have against any other European team. Units are very much of the fact that they are some of the best players in Europe. They are the best players in Europe. Yeah. And they know that I think Ray said that the last time we lost to a European team was like years ago.
It's true, right?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't lose against other European teams, so he's quite happy to be going into these games feeling confident, as you can see, and the hard points are looking good for units. As said, on the other side of things, Europeans doing pretty well. Team War 2-0 up against Gen.G, and that is Gen.G out if they lose that, by the way.
Can you imagine? Can you literally imagine if Gen.G does not make it out of groups? After a team that was on everyone's radar, except for Benson. Everyone's radar.
Yeah,
literally.
Ben's,
he called it from day one, apparently.
I've seen him before, running around land kills and all this stuff. Nah, he didn't really, obviously. But, like, realistically, I think there's still a lot of life left in that series. How good Gen.G are, you would have said if they went up against Team 1, 3-0'd them. Yeah. That's not necessarily a surprise. So, realistically, we could see a reverse sweep coming in there. Personally, as a quiet closet Team War fan, well, maybe not closet, I've just admitted it, I would love to see them go on to win that. But Gen.G being out at this point in the tournament would be a huge surprise for me. I think even Benson was saying, like, on Trading Shots, he was saying, okay, you know, I think they could slip up. Yeah. I don't think he expected them to not make it, though. I think he could maybe have seen them drop down a little bit. So, interesting to see how Gen.G do eventually do. But there's been a couple of surprises, of course, mostly in Group B. Luminosity losing to Singularity. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy enough. That was 3-0 as well. So, I mean, there's been some upsets. There has been. But a lot of it will not be concluded today. There's still a lot to play for most of these teams tomorrow. Of course, Gen.G, if they lose that, will be gone. But I'm sure we'll update you on everything that has went on at the end of the day. Although, saying that, we are way ahead of schedule because all we had is 3-0s and 3-1s. So we'll update 100%. You as best as you can at the point.
I'd love to see a Game 5. Just, you know, if we want to give some credit to ANIMOSITY units right now, whisper in their ear a little bit to say, hey, guys, we wouldn't mind at all if we went to a Game 5. Just,
we'd love it, actually.
And I'm sure that they would mind, obviously, because maps mean everything when it comes down to this tournament. But if they just wanted to, you know, toss us something, that'd be great. But like you mentioned, though, and I think that was one thing they always have been mentioning when it came down to the last Trading Shots episode. They were discussing and saying, hey, who is going to be the team that throws a wrench into the winners round 1 games of the knockout stage? Because that always happens, right? Last year it was like Rise and TK in round 1. Years prior it was always like Optic and Envy facing off against each other in round number 1 as well. But Gen.G could be that team, right, who's throwing a wrench in there. If they were to get that second seed, or maybe even, obviously, don't even make it in, there's going to be a lot more up for grabs. But like I said, a lot of surprises today. LG could be one of those teams who throws a wrench in the setup, and we could have some insane round 1 games in terms of the knockout stage. Like, literally.
I'm looking forward to it, getting the crowd in here.
100%.
By the way, the stage looks... I mean, I don't know if anybody's, like, seen it. I've seen it. There's a few leaked pictures, etc., but it looks insane. It looks so good right now. So can't wait for you guys to all see that when we do indeed get to Friday, Saturday, and, of course, Sunday. Get yourself down here. Modern Warfare is available player, by the way. I mean, I
can't wait to get my hands on that, baby.
I ain't busy Sunday. I ain't casting Sunday. So anyone wants to try and come at me in Modern Warfare, the event, get yourself a ticket, come on down.
I think we need to start up a team. Like, just rally a few of the pros who unfortunately probably
do you want to be my duo if it's like the 2v2 thing?
I'm down.
Is that what we're saying?
Is there going to be a 2v2 area?
A little birdie too, possibly.
Okay. I would love that. Let's do it.
I'm ready to throw hands.
I'm
No,
not.
actually, not against Bryce.
There you go.
I mean, that guy would beat the hell out of him. But, I mean, when we're talking about Call of Duty, I feel pretty confident.
There you go.
Anyway,
He'd spike you with his hair, and he'd just break you.
he says he has spiky hair, you're very right.
The man of 1,000 haircuts, it seems.
Oh, no, the man of one single haircut for the last 10
One.
years.
Right. Let's go ahead and get then on into this one, right? Animosity units. We talk about units. They haven't felt the most comfortable in terms of their search and destroy, despite winning a Game 5 in their last series. So we'll see what they can try to muster up. Animosity, they need some momentum. They need something in their hands, and it looks as if, speaking of in their hands, Phantom punches in the digits and quickly backs up. We'll see how units try to retake this and man down.
Will be fine for them. Let's see what they can get going here. They have actually given control of the bomb site completely up, so now you need to win your gunfights. Olsen is going to be there with the sniper, though. And oh my god, it's an absolute gunfight going on in the middle of the map. How the hell has Rated slipped the net there? 2v1 now. Piero will eventually find Wayman, and it's going to be around over towards the Germans. Animosity.
And that's nice, right? You talked about the way that Game 1 was kind of closed down to a decently dominant fashion for the boys on units. Animosity, you'll take anything you can get. You'll take anything to kind of turn the tides and hopefully utilize some of that short-term memory. As Piero maybe given a short-term memory to the opponent he just knocked out, because they are not going to be awake for a while. That's without question, but you got to get your head on straight. Round number 2 on board. As like we discussed, Animosity already leading the way. Sharko, Piero, both with 2 frags in their hands, but units now on the offense for the first time. It looks like they will be tempting and making a push over toward B this round.
Well, if you don't have Bravo open, just to remind you guys, Team War 2-0 up in the series, 1-0 up in control. Some players are fully streaked out. Okay, right, let's just...
For War, Gingy. Oh, goodness.
Anyway, so Nelson on this right-hand side is being fantastic with the sniper. He's the only guy. I think he had 4 or 5 man snipe in the middle of frequency, if I remember rightly. It was definitely 4.
I think so. Yeah,
Can you remember? Right. It was beginning of the game.
It was. I think it was 4.
Yeah.
It was to say it's 5 just to gas him up a little bit?
Yeah, we say 5.
5!
He's very good with the sniper, is what we're saying, but Joe's now on a 1 versus 3. We've seen Joe pull this sort of thing off in the past. He's one of these players who slips under a lot of people's radar. Not necessarily going to get anything done in that position, though, because he does find him, and that's his second round on the board for the German squad. 2-0 now in the S&D.
And what a big moment this is, right, for the Animosity roster to be here at Champs, representing the German scene, and just trying to do their best wits. I mean, they're just trying to pull off anything they can, and it would be a huge victory versus units, right? You're facing off against a fellow European team, as you mentioned, right? But Animosity, a group of guys who are just trying to pull off anything that they can, kind of led by a veteran, Ben Cookie. He's been playing, what, since like Black Ops 1, and I think what was under Prismatic in World War II, if my mind serves me right.
He's been in and around the German scene for quite some time now. He's a very, very solid player. Kami is going to get that first kill on Tsukuki, though. We'll make it now a 5v3 in units' favour. Can they get a round on the board here? Nelson looking down this right-hand side, waiting for the push to come via elevator. Phantom just about squeezes his hip past that bullet. Nelson does not quite connect, but that is not an area of the map you want to go down when Nicky Nelson is staring down with a Paladin.
Feels primed, ready for a shot, ready for the opportunity. It looks as if, player number 7, maybe the first one to engage. He's got a few players lingering inside the middle. One of those happens to be good old Joseph. Unfortunately, he drops, though. Phantom taking heads, as that will be a 3v4 situation. Time is starting to tick away, and thankfully Animosity can get toward a site, but it's going to come at the end. I think that actually Phantom, he's surely going to get taken down. Ton, they didn't look.
He didn't see it. He didn't see it. He didn't fully check the bomb, and that one is down. That is a free plant for the 2 players on Animosity. Now a 2 versus 4. This is all very much doable. Oh, Weeman has read it like a book. He is eventually going to take Paisley down. Phantom is there to trade. 1v3 cluster available as well. I imagine he may just chuck this one on the bomb. No, he is going to challenge this one. Stay alive as best he can. If he finds Rated, then maybe he gets something done. But Kami is there. Cavalry comes through. 2-1. Units get around on the board.
Yeah, and like I said, this unit's roster, they just work so well in tandem together. at certain moments we talked about, okay, a little bit of inconsistencies when it came down to that 4v3, the later 4v2 situation, but they are able to rally, they're able to kind of hold on, and that's just kind of a credit, right, to kind of these duos that exist on this roster. Obviously, Joe and Rated, they've been a duo. They've played on 7 orgs, they've won 3 titles, and they've competed at 3 different COD champs, of which they placed second at, rather kind of back in Black Ops 3 under Splice. So they've got a lot of history together on this team, and obviously Nilsson, Cammy, and Weeman have played on what was like the, I forget, it was Team Sween and Kairos at the beginning of the year, so they've also got some chemistry in mind as well. A roster that just works together so well in sequence, as it looks like that's what they've got in mind right now. 4-man push to be, and Nilsson still with the sniper.
Not able to quite catch Piero this time around. Grenade will do enough to slow them down though, so PD can get out. Big gunfight going on the back. That's Sharko going to take down Joe. So pinch developing here if you're Animosity. Well played by Weeman to clear that one out though. And now they all have to push one direction. If units can just lock this one down. Cookie is last alive, pre-aiming where Nelson's going. Doesn't seem to matter though. Weeman will find the kills. 2-2 now. Units get back into this game. It's looking like we may have a search and destroy to keep an eye on here, but getting a bit closer now. Units maybe just having slow starts to these maps is what we're expected to see. Slow start, stomp through the rest of it.
Yeah, that seems to kind of be their blueprint, which is maybe negative as you like to call it. It's working for them, so they kind of hold on to it. Weeman, good shots, right? Had a teammate just elevate totally right above those, so that's always nice. No extra team shots are ideal. But see what Animosity can do off the back of this next offense, and I'm curious, will we see anyone attempt an A push, right? Obviously be the main target, and for good reason, right? You put someone on A and just kind of had that statue ICR position, and you're silenced every single time, but looks as if they may be trying to go for somewhat of a bait, right? Play a little bit slow, look for those picks.
Yeah, this map can be very pick-orientated as well, can't it? There's so many different positions, power positions for you to sit in, so it's one of those where you can really try and play that game. All right, now though, units are set up towards B, expecting the push in this direction, but Animosity not quite sure what they want to do yet, and the problem is here, for all this time they are taking, they are giving up a lot of map control to units right now. They're set up high, pushing forward as well. Cammy's going to win that first gunfight in mid-map as well as Joel pushes forward. For all the waiting Animosity have done, they've pretty much just been gunned at every single opportunity. A poor round out of them so far. 3v2 though, still doable. Sharko does find Weeman. Units with the man advantage.
Will be able to punch in the digits, so they've got some time. However, you notice units, they are running and sprinting over toward what is going to be the objective. Cookie, last man up, 1 versus 2. It's a matter of checking your corners correctly, and Cookie takes down 1, but Rated is there to silence him. A massive 1v1 to win, as that will be units grabbing this round. And one that came down to the wire, right? We were talking about Animosity. What do you do when you're taking some extra time that maybe you probably don't need to? However, in the overall scheme of things, they get the objective down. They allow it to get to that 1v1, but that's just not the way the cookie crumbles for them.
Raiden eventually gets the defuse coming in. You enjoyed that cookie crumbles?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Actually,
I'm not going to tell everyone what you did.
That one, yeah, don't say anything. Don't say a word.
I wouldn't do that.
That one was
I
just
wouldn't do that.
Tip of the tongue, cookie crumbles. I didn't write that down or anything. Totally didn't. Really didn't.
Oh, God. Anyway, back into this game. Units now. 3-2 up in the search and destroy. 1-0 up in the series. Weeman now having a peek underneath these boxes. That's a cheeky little spot. He's going to see Piero there, not able to quite get little shots in though. But units now sitting back just that little bit, as if we did see that in the previous round for Animosity. Joe tries to get the hell out of dodge, can't quite get there quick enough though. Right, and now up top window. Just having a peek around. It is a 4v5 in the favour of Animosity though. 275 away from streaks if you are rated.
It's got to be the guy they're playing around. It's got to be the one that they're looking out for as Weeman finally gets engaged upon, as he was getting a little bit antsy. He knew the situation that was inbound, and he couldn't really make a whole lot happen. 3 versus 5, and a sniper rifle comes through from Nolson. Says goodnight to Phantom, and maybe has another response ready to go, as that will be a conversation starter, to say the least. 2 versus 4 situation. Shark in the back of the basin nearly receives a haircut. thankfully still remains, and this should be Animosity's round to lose as they will hold the advantage, and just like that, Rated drops as well. And that will be a 3-3 scoreline for Animosity. The Germans leveled up here a ton.
Yeah, they're looking good in this Search and Destroy right now, Landon. It's looking pretty decent for them. Just to let you guys know, over on Bravo, 2-2 in the control now. Gen G, we're 2-1 up. Defensive side on Arsenal. 4 streaks available. Team War somehow win it. Now have 4 streaks on 2 players. It's either 2 players or 1 player, but we will keep you guys up to date.
Man.
Easy round for Animosity in the end, but wow.
What a crazy day one it is.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep up to date with it because that is...
Oh, yeah. That changes everything. I mean, even for the teams, like, obviously we're talking about units right now in terms of if they can win, they're still looking good to kind of close out their pool. I mean, not having to worry about Genji would be incredible, right? I mean, that's a roster who is so talented in a number of different things. Their Search and Destroy is obviously kind of what they're known for, but in terms of just respawns as well, they can be electric. Because both of these rosters, if they were to make it into that knockout stage, would love to not have to worry about those Genji boys on the other end.
You have to worry about maybe Team War or Fuego in there, though, at the minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wow. Crazy day so far, and plenty more to go this week. Back into this game, though. It is indeed back to 5v5, 3-3. Phantom now does get the bomb down for Animosity. And also making the push. Can they retake with the sniper here? This first kill would be big. Cammy is going to find it, as is Joe, though. The kill's coming in the mid-map with the Sogs. The retake is somewhat flawless out of units. 5v2 now, what can they get done? Piero now trying to just slow the time down. Cammy and Weeman come over the kills. It's another round over towards units.
Yeah, right, back-to-back rounds, and it's continually over here at B, which to no avail is obviously how frequency works out, but as that fuse will come in here for Cammy, not too far away. I mean, still a decent amount from streaks, but that's definitely something to kind of keep aware of if you are the German side of Animosity. They're just looking to try and get something, right? And we talk about how important the Search and Destroy would be for them. Normally, we talk about the boys on units. Control, not their best, right? I think, or at least, no, Search and Destroy previously is not actually their greatest mode, but we've seen units already lose a control up to this point, and FaZe, which we know is obviously an incredibly talented roster, that's the game that Animosity won over them. They won that one 3-0, so...
Yeah, so if you're units, you really want to try and get a hold of this one. You know, you could potentially see yourself going into control against a team who seem pretty solid at it.
Yeah.
Cammy now up top. Plan. Just having a search. It seems to be a units pick 'em sort of round. 4-3 is the score, of course. Cammy and Joe starting to make the push over towards Elevator, and now Nelson in mid-map not able to do much. Shako is going to win that first gunfight, though. Can units get this round done and dusted? 2 kills coming in for them. They will just about win that trade. Kills coming in mid as well from Nelson. 3v1 now. Units about to put themselves 1 round away from that point. You feel here, Lando?
Cookie, a lot of work to be done, and does not want to allow for units to get put onto map point. I was going to say, does he just have an ICR? Because that would be not the worst weapon in the world, because obviously you could have others, but decides to fade off the map, not going to give any excess eliminations, either intentional or not, toward the boys of units. But that's going to be 5 rounds to 3 in a very good position to most likely close this out. As we talked about, it was a matter of the stun. It was a matter of Cammy responding and engaging instantly. As that seems to be the call for units as they win, like we said, their 5th.
Well, just to let you guys know, if you aren't already watching Bravo, Gen G are out. Team War take that series 3-0 and put themselves in a spot.
Oh, yeah.
To play against Fuego for a spot through. By the way, I'll let you guys know that's on Charlie tomorrow.
That'll be us tomorrow.
That
right?
will be us tomorrow.
Oof.
Everybody celebrate! We got a great game tomorrow. I can't wait. Back into this one. Units now 5-3 up in this Search and Destroy. TAC 5 has been popped. Looking good for them. Looking good for the UK team. Let's go 2-0 up in this series now. Animosity in a 4v5 here. I mean, for you, Lando, any improvements Animosity can make in their Search and Destroy, or do you think it's just been units outflexing them?
I think, honestly, for Animosity, they've just been kind of spreading themselves a little bit too thin. Like,
yeah.
You need to really engage on a site. You need to take it over. Obviously, when it comes into frequency, there is a primary target. I mean, 90% of the time, you want to try to have some efforts over at B, but I think some mid-control, you try to withstand the sniper rifle from Nolson. You try to do something just because they constantly are getting picked, and then from here, they just almost look too frazzled. Like, they almost don't look like as if they have a collective idea of what's being engaged upon. Like, in that situation, Pazzy, I like the idea. The bomb's planted over at B. You're engaging at A. I almost feel like they're almost getting caught off guard in the open.
Far too much, it seems, as units eventually will get their 6th round. Slow starts all around for units on both these two maps, but will take them both in the end convincingly. 6-3 in the search and destroy, and they're now 2-0 up in this series. As I said, somewhat comfortable in the end. It seems to be these slow little starter units. They download what's going on, they program it in, they flick a switch, and suddenly they just take over. It seems pretty comfortable for them. They start to understand what the other team are doing, and then it just turns around. So I think units will be pretty comfortable with how it's gone so far. The control is something interesting to look at, though, as you mentioned. When FaZe played against Animosity, they did go on to lose the control, so Animosity looking pretty good in that map, in that game mode, I should say, whereas units have been up and down in that one. So it'll be interesting to see which way that one goes. But I'd expect maybe a slow start for units, and then they win that map.
Exactly right. They're going to go down like 0-1, 0-2, and then they're just going to go and flip a switch. That seems to be the blueprint so far for what has happened up to this point in the series. But like I said, I like the idea for Animosity coming into this control, but I think they need some type of momentum. Like whether it's this first round that's going to be done in the control, but I thought the search and destroy would be nice. You maybe progress a few more rounds, kind of into that one, and then you're feeling a little bit better. But I don't know. I think even though we've seen the results go down the way that they have, I still am favoring units to close out this map. Even though 100%. We've seen units lose and Animosity already win. Yeah,
100%. We know that units are a very, very solid squad. We will be getting map 3 up very, very shortly, I do believe. Actually, we're going to go after a quick... Oh, okay, sorry, no. Okay, we're not going to go. But we are going to see units very, very shortly in map number 3. Let's have a look at the pools, though. I do believe we'll have the pools. That was it. That was it. I was speaking at the same time. I couldn't hear what you said. I'm sorry, production. I'm sorry. But either way, these are the groups. Gen.G out at 0 and 2. That is a humongous shock.
Oh, yeah.
A humongous shock.
And 2 and 5 in maps, too. Like, the fact that they've only won 2 maps so far in their series is crazy to think about. I mean, that is an unbelievable shock, and probably will be the biggest shock up to this point in terms of the way.
If we have a bigger shock than that at this point, I'd be very surprised. But champs is like this.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
100%.
it happens
Absolutely.
every year. Every year.
It was Optic last year.
With Optic last year, it wasn't as big a shock as that, I think.
I agree. I agree with that.
Because Gen.G have been the highest average placement out of everybody. Everybody. They get put in a tough group, don't get me wrong. Finishing second in Miami is one of those, you get put in a better group. Apparently not. They lose to both the open bracket teams.
And they haven't even played
E6 yet in this era.
And that was the one thing that people were kind of looking at, was like, okay, if they lose versus E6, things could, look a little bit scary, but they haven't even played them yet, Ton.
That's crazy.
They haven't matched up against the roster that is almost like kind of considered to be the mini version of them in terms of being a good search and destroy team, a team that likes to work together. Not at all the case, and man, Team Aura, they've got to be soaring right now because of the way they kind of lost their first series to rebound like that. It's new life.
War against Fuego tomorrow on Charlie at some point. I'll let you know what time. The UK guys will already have it earmarked. That's going to be an absolute cracker. But either way, we still have units up against Animosity right now. They are 2-0 up. We will see map number 3 after this quick commercial break. Guys, welcome back to day 1 of the Call of Duty World League Championships 2019. I specified day 1 because we have 4 more days left. It's already been pretty crazy. I don't know which way this tournament's going now. Haven't got a clue. It literally,
I have no idea.
Team War or Fuego could win it at this point. That's maybe not, but like that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. But we'll stop getting distracted with other games because we do actually have units going up against Animosity here. An all-European game of Germany versus England. We'll not get into the jokes about that, of course, but...
Oh, yeah, no way.
Yeah, it's a bit deep. It's only day 1. I ain't trying to get fired already. Arsenal, control, we go into it. We have said the control is something of a question mark in this series based on these 2 teams and how they've played it so far.
Yeah. And I will say, too, when it comes down to this mode and this map combination, this was the exact one that units lost. So... they've lost this mode already. They've lost this exact same map as well. So Arsenal control clearly has not been their best. But they got some momentum, right? They've got all the momentum in the world, considering the way they've played the hardpoint and in the search and destroy. This is your mode, Animosity. If you wanted a time to make something happen, if you wanted to be in the driver's seat to a certain extent, it's going to come off the back of a control here on Arsenal, one of which unit has clearly shown is not their strong suit, but throw that out the window, because they've already got 2 ticks done when it comes down to A, which isn't too out of the ordinary, but regardless, Animosity will see how they start to deal with a little bit of the rushes that are going to be coming in. It looks as if very, very soon. So first capture point grabbed, and they've got a solid 2 minutes remaining, and with somewhat of a man count in their favor.
And this map it's one of those that, you know, you get a hold of B first, and the transition over is somewhat more simple, but getting hold of A really, really fast if your units, it can make B any easier. I mean, you can concentrate all your resources, but if you go straight to B, capture B, the transition through lobby is just so simple.
Oh, yeah.
In that scenario, that's not too bad for Animosity. They'll take that. You can defend B for quite some time. Let's see if they can pull it off, though. Quite amount of time, 1.5 minutes remaining for units to try and get hold of this one. But for units, the advantage is they can take their time. They can go with the pinch. They can set up a specific break if they want, instead of just funneling down long side. So let's see how they can get going. But Animosity right now doing a good job of defending so far. And I think, I don't know if you're already pointing this out, I think this is the map that Animosity 3-0'd phase on.
Is it actually? I knew it was the one that Units lost. I wasn't for sure if this is the one that Animosity.
So Units have lost it. Animosity 3-0'd phase, but yet here we are. I mean, I don't know who's doing these videos, but god damn it.
Sometimes you just never really know, right? The first series of the day, how things are looking, and you could sometimes shock a few rosters, and whether or not that was the case for both Units and Animosity in both negative and positive ways, who knows? But Units off the start have been looking pretty decent, to say the least, right? They've got the man count in their favor, but here comes the grapple. Instantly silence goes past the Phantoms, and that is going to possibly be theirs in the bag. No one's going to get there in time, and just a little bit short as Piero made a little bit of a nice run at the end, but that's going to be an early drop. An early round going the way of Units, which is not the most shocking.
Yeah, I think, you know, the fact, I mean, I was trying to allude to the point of, you know, you can capture it quickly, still defend B relatively simply, but in the end, the amount of time that they had there was really what was against Animosity. That really good start by Units in this control, trying to snub what we've been saying about the control game over between these two. Anyway, Units looking to prove. I mean, rated is 2-0, but has 2 streaks. Well, okay.
2 for 2, quite literally, right? In that situation. So
yeah.
Sure,
I must have just got to catch up on. Can we go more with rated now? I want to see how long he survives. Let's have a look. He's already taking bullets. I think he literally wants to play it to try and not die at this point. Although if he's just okay, I'm calling them in. If he's just defending B on his own, maybe we won't watch him. But at the same time, I'm just interested to see how we can keep this one going. Yeah, the whole Animosity do seem to be pushing over towards the A site. We'll actually get the break. That's 3 men down now. Joan rated over towards B. I'll quite happily give this one up. I'd imagine a lightning strike may just come through the ceiling in just a second. Oh, they're going to try and retake this one now. Paisley sitting there with his teammates. Here comes the lightning strike through the top roof. Is going to find 2. Paisley staying alive though. Is crucial. They still have lobby control, but here come the kills from Units. The break may well just come in, and it does. Perfectly executed. The kills not quite there for Animosity, but off the back of rated streaks, a really nice break by Units.
Yeah, and off the back of rated streaks, Joe earns his. So that's going to be a very good situation right now for Units, all things considered. Just based off the way they kind of utilized them. And I was thinking, okay, well, that's nice. You have some streaks, maybe to distance the enemy just off of that B zone. However, they use one, and that works out so well for them. And now it's going to put Animosity in somewhat of the back seat. Right, they are going to capture A, but it did not come without its difficulties. So minute 41 on the clock. Definitely something to keep in mind. Notice passing. He finds himself somewhat on a flank, and I think he was almost stunned the fact that he had made it behind enemy lines for that long. Regardless, though, we'll have to see what Animosity can do in terms of the rest of this matchup. Like we said, they do not have streak advantage, and the one problem about B is it is wide out in the open there, Ton.
It's very, very difficult to get anything done over towards the site when the enemy team has streaks at it. For Animosity, it's just so hard. You get 5 down, doesn't matter. It's to the point where you just have to stack it and hope for the best. Then you have to dip for cover through vents, etc. It's so, so hard. Already down in lives, don't really have any sort of map positioning that is threatening the B site. This is cruise control for Unity kill, even though the kill difference is only 1. He is going to find Joe, though, getting the better of him this time around, but here come the kills. But the problem is, they'll get these kills, and they may make a good push forward. but we know what is in the back pocket of units right now. They have a couple of streaks available. Of course, they don't want to burn them unnecessarily. They will just try and get things going. Rated beams Piero off the jump up. I just seen you like stutter a little bit when you did that.
I did. I just know how hard that hurts whenever you get killed like that. So Piero hoping to hold on. Maybe once this round comes to a close, but like we said, no progression has been made for Animosity up to this point. Cammy is finding a few through middle, and it's only going to allow for those numbers to be depleted. Player 9, player 8, Phantom, Pazzy off of that spawn. We'll see if they can try and allow for this team push, because this is it, Ton. This is their last push. This is the effort that they have to make, and Joe is the first one here. Takes down 2, and I'd imagine Cookie is only going to follow unless they want to jump off the map, because regardless, this is not going to go their way. Units, a hot 2-0 so far in this control, as they have been dominating since we started. Animosity, they've had their positives, they've had their good moments, Ton, but to no avail. This is a team push that is silenced by ICRs from afar and Joe up close.
I think the problem with Animosity is, and it's maybe a slightly strange take, I just feel like they've got no teeth to their attacks.
Yeah.
It seems like they have the gun skill, but it's just, there's something missing. They don't have that extra spark that we see a lot of these pro teams do have.
Right.
They're making the push, and there's not that bit of ingenuity to make a push outside the map or something, or make a different push. It just seems to be very flat. And they can't get anything going right yet, albeit they are 2-0 down in the series. They lose this one, they're out of the tournament. Their contract is essentially over outside of a toss-up for third. But realistically, you know, I would like to see a bit more from the German side. We haven't seen any curveballs. We haven't seen anything different from them. Units have really had a simple time of things. They're going to get a hold of B pretty quickly. Raiden calling in the Hellstorm. I'm not quite sure why he's literally sitting at the back of the map. There we go. He's now going to start things moving. But Hellstorm is in. He's going to make his way over now as the rest of the team capture B. They can lock down control of lobby, which they already have. This one is all but over. Here comes the streaks. Weeman, 3 men down with the Tempest. This one seems to be over before it's even really started, Lando. There comes more kills. Nelson's going to kill his teammates as well. It doesn't seem to matter as the kill feed is just lighting up white. A sensational control game out of the boys on units. They will take this one 3-0. They will take the series 3-0. Come on. Come on. It's coming any second now. We'll get there in the end. There it is. Units close out Charlie with a 3-0 victory over the squad of Animosity, and in the end, as convincing as you're likely to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Units, you're feeling really good about that, right? You obviously have that Game 5 victory previously versus Meiju. You get a very difficult team out of the way. You talk about the German roster, obviously the 4th seed in this group. You also kind of move them by the wayside as well, and now it comes down to that major focus of Units versus FaZe, which is what they want, right? And if they lose that one, you know, somewhat big deal, because you kind of are relying on that 2nd seed to probably carry you forward. But them already being 2-0 right now in terms of their group, they've got to be feeling good. And for the Germans, I'm sure it's a bitter tasting feeling at this moment, right? Just wanting to face off against this roster, having some positives when it came down to their control gameplay versus FaZe. However, you've met against the big dogs and you've been silenced again.
Super tough pool, wasn't it? For the Germans of Team Animosity. Let's have a look at some of those pools and how they are currently playing out as well. It was always going to be a difficult look. Mesa, Units, and FaZe Clan. Mesa, quite happily known as probably, like, I mean, they finished 3rd in Miami. Look, there's a lot of good players on that team. They're 0-1. They'll be going up against FaZe Clan currently, if I'm correct. Units have secured their spot there with that win against Animosity. They will be going through to bracket play. If FaZe beat Mesa, then it's over for them as well. So yeah, we're really looking forward to FaZe Clan against Units to see how that one plays out, who finishes first. And
definitely.
There's a couple of teams who are already gone. Animosity is one of them. Gen G, the shock of it though. I mean, we alluded to it slightly. Optic last year was a surprise for us the way that they went out, but Gen G, for me, that is crazy.
Oh,
the highest 100%. Average placement, the highest average placement all year long, and they are out of the tournament within 7 hours of day 1.
Yeah, right. I mean, it has been a quick day, but for Gen G, you're thinking, man, what just happened? Like, how in just a matter of day 1 have we already been taken down from this tournament? It is staggering. It's crazy to think about, but this is what happens at Champs, right? This is what happens at this event when the stage is its brightest. Who is going to turn up and who, unfortunately, is going to fall? It seems as if Gen G, one of the teams falling by the wayside, and without question, a shock to the entire world. The entire Call of Duty community has no idea what to think, and neither do I.
yeah, a real big shock. But it really has been a great day. We've got so much more to go as well. We've got the rest of the groups to be playing out tomorrow, of course. Then we go into bracket play where things really do start getting interesting. I can't wait for it. Especially, as I said, we open up the doors, we let the crowd in, we let everybody see this beautiful main stage, which is looking fantastic right now. We got a Bravo stage as well. I'm hoping to adopt some new Bravo boys over the weekend because my boys who were here last year aren't here this year. Let me down. Not going to talk about it either way. So we got the Bravo stage and the Alpha stage. You watch two different ones that are going at the same time. We've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare here, by the way.
If you're living in the area, just
any breaks
come around. All are welcome.
I'm just hoping they have a staff line.
Oh, that's true.
I ain't lining up with you boys. Don't get me wrong. All right, I quite happily mingle, but I'm trying to get in there. I will be
100%.
using my privileges to play Modern Warfare more than you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm being honest. I'll be doing it.
I am my body is ready for Modern Warfare. That's for sure, man. It's going to be fun.
But we still got plenty of Black Ops 4 to be watching as well. It's going to be a great end to the year. And I have no idea who's going to win this tournament now. Based on day one, I think it's hard to really gauge of what's going on, but it's really a tough one to call. We have plenty more action to offer, though, over the next 4 days. This being day one on Charlie Stream. Thank you very much for joining myself, Lando, and Brycey for some fantastic games. Some of it have been pretty convincing one way or another, but realistically, we'll have classic games tomorrow. I promise you. We'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early here in LA for Call of Duty World Championships 2019. See you tomorrow.